Hi, this is my final project number 4, discussing how this course has enhanced my research skills. Let me tell you, it was a lot. Hi, this is my final project number 4, discussing how this course has enhanced my research skills. Let me tell you, it was a lot. Hi, this is my So, starting off, I wanted to talk about how data collection changed from the beginning to the end. In the beginning, I had little knowledge about actually collecting data. Like, I knew there was questionnaires, but I really didn't know how to go about it and how to look at that data. And I was definitely unsure of how to determine if it was reliable or if it was valid when I was collecting it. So, starting off, after doing research and after looking at the PowerPoints and the videos, I was able to determine that there are two main types of data collection, which are qualitative and quantitative. And then the qualitative is more nature like, where you're looking at how people respond, you're looking at questionnaires, surveys, you're looking at interviews, and then you're observing the things that are happening. And then quantitative is you're using more numbers. You're using a control group, and then you're using a experimental group to help you determine what the differences are, what the correlations are between those two things. So, something else that I had very little knowledge on was literature review. And my brain is more like reading social studies. So, whenever you asked, what is a literature review? I was thinking, oh, let me just look about it as I'm reading a story and what can I get from it. So, I knew it was about reading and like looking for connections, but I did not know how much further it went through that. So, something else that I had very little knowledge on was literature review. Now, I can confidently look at different articles and determine how they relate to one another. Especially with the literature review project, I was able to find where 4 different articles had similar things based on um, the phrases that were used or based on the words that were used, um, and how they can go into these bigger categories. I did learn that with the literature review, it can be quantitative or qualitative. It does not matter, it does not have to be specific towards what type of research it is. Again, once these articles have been read through and actually figured out what's the same and what's different, you can put them into a category or theme box and determine how it really relates to your question. Again, once these articles have been read through and actually figured out what's the same and what's different, you can put them into a category or theme box. So, when it comes to searching and analyzing research articles, I had very little knowledge on that. I knew that I could look through search engines like Google Scholar or EBSCO, since that's what I used in my undergrad. Um, but I was also looking for articles that align with my thoughts. Now, after some time, I've learned that these need to be peer-reviewed articles, and that they need to include both sides of the view. It does not just need to be how I feel, because that's not accurate or reliable. Um, and then what answers my question best whenever I'm thinking about what kind of research am I doing? How can I get the best data out of it? With data analysis, I knew that it was data that was collected through research methods. And then it was, how does the data relate to the question? And what does it look like against one another? With data analysis, I knew that it was data that was collected through research methods. And then it was, how does the data relate to the question? And what does it look like against one another? With data analysis, I knew that after doing more of the research and diving deeper into the projects and into the PowerPoints, I was able to see how data analysis uses code. So, looking at all of these different responses and how do they relate? What types of things do they all say or have in common? And so, like, looking at similar phrases and thoughts, and then giving it meaning, looking for that overarching theme or that overarching finding that can be used within school. Personally, I would like to use qualitative analysis, specifically interviewing, to determine what skills are best being used within the classroom right now. And so I could do a interview with a selected group, random sampling, and see what they're doing within their classrooms and see what's the same between their responses. And finally, my sources all came from the class. It was the class PowerPoints that Dr. Carr created. It was the class videos that gave extra information. And then the class projects really gave me the opportunity to dive deep and really get a hold on what it means to be a researcher and how it can be productive in the education field. And finally, my sources all came from the class. It was the class PowerPoints that Dr. Carr created. It was